He tested the maid's kid with a floor full of cash and watched her sort every bill without taking one. Then money kept disappearing, and rumors turned the house against her. When his luxury watch appeared in her cleaning towels, police rushed in to arrest her. The girl grabbed her mother's hand, shaking as the millionaire stepped forward and said, "Stop. You need to see the truth. Before we go any further, we'd love for you to hit that subscribe button. Your support means the world to us, and it helps us bring you even more powerful stories." Now, let's begin. Leanna wiped the counter for the third time, not because it was dirty, but to steady her hands. The western kitchen glowed with warm light and steel. Earlier, she had clocked out of the hotel, grabbed a plastic bag of clothes, and dragged her 10-year-old daughter across town. Now Maya sat on a stool, half asleep, sneakers barely touching the floor. Grant Weston watched from the doorway, one hand in his pocket, the other around. A glass of amber liquor, tailored shirt, calm stare, quiet control. "Housekeeping," he had said at the door. "You work nights?" "Yes, sir," Leanna had answered. "I can start tomorrow. I only have one request." She hated begging, but she did it anyway. "I do not have anywhere to sleep tonight," she said. "The shelter is full. I need 1 month. You can take it from my pay. Let my daughter and me sleep in the basement. We will stay out of the way. You will not even know we are here." Maya had lifted her head, eyes wide in the bright hallway, her fingers dug into her mother's sleeve. Grant's gaze had moved from the girl to the scuffed bag by Leanna's feet. He had taken a slow sip. "The basement," he said at last. "No noise, no visitors. You follow my schedule." "Clear?" "Yes, sir. Completely clear." He did not mention the last maid who walked out with cash and jewelry after he forgot to lock the safe. He did not mention the police report still open in his office. He simply stepped aside and let Leanna in. By the time she reached the kitchen, 2 staff members pretending to sort cutlery had already started whispering. "She's bringing a kid," one said. "Watch," the other replied. "Give it a week." Leanna heard every word. She kept her head down and asked where the basement door was. The stairs were narrow and loud. The air shifted from warm and scented to cool and flat, full of detergent and dust. A sagging sofa pushed against one wall. A bare mattress leaned nearby. "It is only for a month," Leanna told Maya, forcing a smile. "Then we get our own place, your own bed, a door you can close." Maya set her bag down, brushed dust from the mattress, and sat cross-legged. She tilted her head back to study the cracked ceiling, lips moving as she counted. Upstairs, speakers hummed softly. Down here, a single bulb buzzed. Grant paused at the top of the basement staircase, listening to the rustle of fabric and the small click of Maya's shoes on the floor. He took another sip, turned away, and walked toward his bedroom. Behind a painted panel, a steel safe waited with cash, documents, and a watch worth more than most houses. If he was letting Leanna in, he needed to know who she really was when she thought no one was watching. Grant planned the test with the same calm he used in business deals. He waited until the house settled, until the last hallway light clicked off, until he heard the faint shuffle of Maya settling under a thin blanket. Then he opened his safe wide, pulled out stacks of cash, and scattered them across the polished floor. A few bundles slid under the armchair. A loose 100 drifted near the dresser. He set an empty whiskey bottle on its side, let a small puddle form, and lowered himself onto the rug like a man who had passed out. He kept one eye almost closed, watching the soft glow from the hallway. The air felt still. A minute passed, maybe 2, before he heard gentle footsteps. Leanna entered first, slow and cautious. She paused in the doorway, hand hovering near her chest. Mia peeked from behind her, eyebrows raised at the spread of money. Most kids froze. Mia stepped forward and crouched. She gently tapped each stack to count the thickness, nodding as she sorted them by value. 10s in one line, 50 seconds in another, hundreds in perfect columns. She didn't rush. She didn't whisper. She just worked with the quiet focus of someone who organized things to stay calm. Leanna glanced between her daughter and the floor. She swallowed hard. "Maya, come on," she murmured. "This is not our business." It looked messy, Mia said. He might slip. She took a clean cloth from her pocket and blotted the spilled whiskey. She didn't touch the bottle. She didn't open the safe. She didn't even look at Grant long enough for suspicion to show. When she finished, the room looked cleaner than before. Grant felt the corner of his mouth lift. Later, back in the basement, Maya sat on the mattress and rubbed her hands together, thinking. Why was he sleeping like that? She asked. The money was everywhere. Leanna tucked the blanket around her. Sometimes people are careless, she said. You did well. You left everything where it belonged. Maya shrugged. It was just counting. Upstairs, Grant replayed the footage from a ceiling camera. No hesitation, no greed, no wandering hands. Just a kid who cleaned a mess because it bothered her. He leaned back, the tension in his shoulders easing for the first time in months. Something in that small scene felt real, almost too real. Grant acted the next morning without ceremony. He met Leanna in the hallway, handed her a revised contract, and raised her pay. No speech, no hint of the test. He gave her a key to the guest house and told her to move out of the basement that afternoon. She blinked fast, unsure if she heard correctly. Maya hugged her legs so tight her shoes squeaked on the marble. Staff nearby paused, watching the scene with tight smiles that didn't reach their eyes. By noon, the W.I. Spurs had spread. The former head maid, Clara, heard every detail. She stood by the laundry room door, arms folded, jaw tight as stone. She had spent years believing the estate ran because of her. Seeing Leanna promoted felt like a personal hit. Watching Maya skip across the patio made it worse. Clara kept her voice low. He barely knows her. Another maid nodded. People like that fall fast. Clara said nothing else, but her eyes tracked every move Leanna made. During the next weeks, the house shifted. Leanna worked with steady precision. Maya adjusted to her new school with quiet enthusiasm. Grant noticed how she measured ingredients while helping in the kitchen, counting aloud under her breath like numbers were her anchor. He bought her a set of study books and left them on the counter without signing his name. Clara watched all of it like someone guarding territory. Then her behavior changed piece by piece. She lingered after shifts, offering to do final checks. She walked slower in the hallway. She paused outside Grant's door, even when she wasn't scheduled to clean. Nothing loud, nothing obvious. The first missing bundle of cash seemed like carelessness. Grant checked his desk twice before assuming he misplaced it during paperwork. When a second stack vanished a week later, he frowned but said nothing. He confronted Leanna gently. She looked stunned, hands still wet from washing dishes. "Sir, I have never touched anything in your room," she said. Her voice stayed steady. "Boo." Her shoulders rose with worry. Grant believed her tone, but doubt hovered. The pattern continued. Another handful of cash, missing after a long day. Another quiet conversation where Leanna insisted she had no idea what was happening. Maya watched each moment with a nervous tilt of her chin, sensing tension she couldn't name. Bystanders whispered again, "You see, things are already disappearing." Clara added fuel in soft, calculated comments. Some people get too comfortable. Grant tried to ignore the noise, but the timeline felt wrong. Leanna never rushed through her duties. Maya never wondered. Still, the losses mounted. 50,000 gone in under 2 months. Grant listened to the house at night, replaying scenes in his mind. Something didn't fit. One evening, while the room stood silent, he sat at his desk, tapping a pen against the wood. He remembered how Maya placed the stacks in perfect lines. He remembered Leanna's confusion when he questioned her. He remembered Clara's stiff smile when she congratulated Leanna on the promotion. A small alarm rose in his chest. He opened his security dashboard, scrolled to hidden camera access, and pulled up footage from the last 8 weeks. Frame by frame, the truth formed like a slow bruise. Clara entering his room after every shift. Clara checking the hall. Clara slipping bills into her apron. Clara leaving with a calm, practiced stride. Grant leaned back, jaw tight. He let the footage run again, slower this time. No hesitation, he closed. The laptop, exhaled once and waited. The right moment had not come yet, but it would. Grant kept his routine steady, so Clara sensed nothing. He greeted staff the same way, kept his tone flat, even thanked Clara for extra effort. She relaxed enough to let her guard slip. He watched her through the corner of his eye while acting like a man distracted by work. Inside, he counted the days until she made her final mistake. It came on a quiet Thursday afternoon. His Richard Mille watch vanished from its case. He didn't react. He simply stood in front of the open display and let the silence thicken. CL hovered near the doorway, pretending to dust a shelf she cleaned yesterday. "You misplaced something?" she asked, voice light. Grant didn't answer. He walked out without a word. Clara's smirk stayed only a second. Then she reached into her apron and touched the cool metal of the watch hidden inside a microfiber cloth. Downstairs, Leanna scrubbed the hallway railing. She hummed softly, unaware of the shift forming behind her. Clara approached with a bounce in her step. "There's an issue," she said. "Grant wants to check your supplies." Leanna frowned. "Why?" "I haven't cleaned his room today." "Routine," Clara claimed. "You know how he is." Two maids nearby exchanged looks. One whispered, "This feels messy." The other nodded like she already expected trouble. Clara led Leanna to the supply closet. She opened the door with a little dramatic pause, stepped aside and pointed. The watch sat on top of the folded towels wrapped in Leanna's cleaning cloth. Leanna's face went dull with shock. "I don't understand," she said quietly. Clara crossed her arms. "I warned them. I said something felt off." She pulled out her phone and dialed the police before Leanna could speak again. Within minutes, 2 officers arrived. Staff gathered near the hall, murmuring under their breath, "She has a kid." "Shame." I thought she seemed honest. Maya stood at the end of the corridor, clutching her backpack, eyes trembling. One officer stepped forward. "Ma'am, we need to ask you a few questions about stolen property." Leanna's hands shook. "I didn't take anything." Clara cut in fast. "The watch was in her supplies. I caught her. I didn't want this to happen, but here we are." Grant appeared at the top of the staircase, expression unreadable. He descended slowly, hands in his pockets, ignoring Clara's proud posture. "Officers," he said, "before you arrest anyone, follow me." They followed him to the living room. Clara trailed behind, confusion flickering across her face. Staff members lined the hallway, whispering like a low current. Grant picked up the remote and turned on the large screen mounted above the fireplace. A paused frame showed Clara entering his room. He clicked play. The footage moved in calm, damning detail. Clara checking the hall. Clara opening drawers she had no reason to touch. Clara stealing cash night after night. Clara hiding the watch. Clara planting it in the cleaning towel. Minutes before calling the police, Clara's voice cracked. "This is edited." "No," Grant said. "This is 8 weeks of routine you thought no one saw." One officer turned to Clara. "Ma'am, place your hands behind your back." Her mouth dropped. She looked at the staff, then at Leanna, then at Grant. No one moved toward her. No one defended her. She stepped back, then forward, then froze as the metal cuffs clicked around her wrists. Maya ran to Leanna, hugging her waist. Grant watched them quietly, the weight of the last month settling into place. He nodded once to the officers and stepped aside as they escorted Clara out through the front doors. The house fell silent except for one soft sound. Maya counting under her breath to calm herself. Grant listened, steadying his own breath. The moment had arrived, and the truth stood in full light. The cuffs clicked, the door shut, and the echo drifted through the halls like the house itself exhaled. Leanna stood still, holding Maya close, unsure if she should apologize, cry, or run. Grant approached slowly, keeping his movements calm so she didn't flinch. "You kept your word," he said. "You worked, you stayed honest, and you protected your daughter. You don't owe me an apology." Leanna lowered her gaze. "Thank you for believing me at the end." "It wasn't the end," he replied. It was the moment proof spoke. He handed her a new contract already signed. The salary doubled, her schedule eased. The guest house became permanent housing. Leanna stared at the paper like it might vanish if she blinked too hard. "And Maya," Grant added, glancing at the girl who watched everything with steady eyes. "Starts at Westbridge Academy next term. Full scholarship, supplies covered, uniforms covered, transport covered." Maya's mouth parted. She looked at her mother, waiting for confirmation. Leanna nodded, tears slipping down her cheeks before she could catch them. Staff members lingered near the hallway, whispering again, but the tone had shifted. Curiosity replaced doubt. Respect crept in around the edges. She did nothing wrong. That kid saved her. Smart girl, smart mother. Grant walked them to the guest house himself. The evening air felt cooler than the day, and Maya counted the stones on the path as she walked, her small voice drifting between numbers. Leanna carried only one bag this time. Instead of everything she owned at the door, Grant paused. "You can breathe now," he said softly. "No one is waiting to take anything from you here." Leanna nodded, pressing her hand to her heart. Maya slipped inside, wandering the new space like she was learning the shape of safety for the first time. Grant turned toward the main house, hands in his pockets, mind still replaying the last 2 months. He had spent years reacting to betrayal, striking fast, trusting no one. Tonight showed him something quieter, something cleaner. Power wasn't to strike. Power was the patience to wait for truth that couldn't be denied. Behind him, Leanna turned off tea. He lights one by one, her silhouette steady in the window. Maya arranged her notebooks in a neat row on the table, counting softly, under her breath, as she prepared for the life opening in front of her. For the first time in a long while, the estate felt balanced. The lies were gone, the noise was gone, and the people who stayed had earned their place. Sometimes the truth doesn't scream. It waits, then walks in with proof. No one can ignore. If this story moved you, share it with someone who needs a reminder that character always outlasts gossip. And if you want more stories that hit this hard, subscribe and stay with